I don't date men anymore.
So?
I don't see them as people.
I don't believe that they should even be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Cut it if not.
I mean, that's why we're in this situation, because they're voting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel there should be a program
They start off in jail.
Yes. Like start off in jail. Start off with no rights. You actually get none. And then you can earn them. Then a woman can say, you know what? Like, he should be allowed to maybe vote.
He's going to vote when I want him to vote.
That's how I feel. So
I don't feel good about being white every day.
This is the delivery mechanism.
And I'm just a female, but just a woman, just a white woman.
This is the payload.
If I was a white man, I would be functioning from a point of an even greater privilege.
If I see a group of young men, and they're like kind of boisterous, I get really nervous. And he's like, well, what if they're black guys? And then she's like, no, wait.
They want to use conviction rates to show the percentage of men that engage in sexual crime relative to women. They don't want us to actually look at the racial composition of the men who are going to jail for sexual assault.
And then they create a hierarchy, and it puts straight white guys at the very bottom and all the other men like just above that. And then you get onto the other identities, right?
It is impossible for the CDC, that is the Center of Disease Control, to find 3 years in a row parity in sexual assault victimization with significant amounts of that victimization done by women to men.
I think that it's a fundamental unfairness that women are allowed to vote on policies for warfare that they then don't have to go fight.
Men don't get the vote if they don't sign up. Women get the vote by default. So literally, men actually have less of the right to vote. Not that the vote is a right, because it's not. But they have less of access to the vote than women do.
Keep your vote, but get rid of the narrative that you're a victim relative to men.
So that's the goal. Why I joke about the 19th all the time. I don't think it's going away, because women would actually have to vote for that. And I don't think that's going to happen.
That's a great image to start.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. 3 new feminist double standards just dropped, where we are going to be responding to 3 videos, hopefully in a timely manner. And 2 of them are by Bryrony Claire, our favorite feminist that likes to make references to use the entertainment industry, which is predominantly, like, overwhelmingly feminist, to make arguments in favor of feminism. So that should be fun. She has a couple of holiday episodes. And then we have one from the Queer Kiwi, which is a bit of a long-winded rant. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get started, we have to do what we got to do. So Allison?
So before I get into that, I'll just give you guys a brief preview. Bryrony talks about what makes a good man. The Queer Kiwi talks about the left versus right. And of course, she falls in line with the left, so you can only imagine. And then finally, we go back to Bryrony to talk about more double standards that she holds men and women to. Double standards that she holds men to. She doesn't really hold women to a standard. So those are the 3 we're going to cover, and we'll cover how to push back against them or not internalize them, as it were. So if you want to send a message at any point throughout the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very best way for you to send us whatever tip you want to send us, while not sending your comment through YouTube's comment enhancement system. And if you want to support the show, because we are in the last few days the last few days of December. And so we only have a few days left on the fundraiser, and you can help us out there at feedthebadger.com/support. That's feedthebadger.com/support. I would like to point out that I have a very new Void Cat conveyance device that I have attached to my desk, and hopefully this will keep her from attacking the computer. Probably not. And also, if you guys were around the last one, she took a dive bomb onto my hand rest here, and then decided to when it exploded, it just decided to die, and then she used me as her attempt to find purchase again. So hopefully this will be more solid and will work better for her. She's already removing herself from her place. You know what? I should use the Hassan method and get you a electric collar. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. I would never do that. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first time code for Bryrony, what is
So
it?
we're gonna be looking at the first Bryrony Claire video, which is what makes a good guy. The holiday shows us. Right.
Yes.
And
yes.
she's gonna be, I think this is the one where, yeah, she's looking at that movie. I can't remember the name of it. It was like, I never saw it. It was a rom-com with Jude Law and Jack Black and the chick from I don't know, the English chick with the lips that was in that movie about the diary. Can't remember the name. She was, I think she was, well, whatever, it doesn't matter. And Cameron Diaz. And she is trying to say that this is like one of very, very few films that gets, you know, like the good guy versus nice guy thing right or something. And basically it's a vehicle that lets her discuss what she thinks is the absolute state of men today.
Of course.
That's kind of the purpose of it. So
yeah. And of course, it's astounding that she's finding only this. I think this is a rom-com. So of all the rom-coms, guys, of all the rom-coms out there, there's only a select few, according to Bryrony, that are sufficiently female servicing enough to qualify as not misogynist. Because, you know, as we all know, rom-com is definitely a misogynist genre. Okay,
yes.
so the first time code is 10:48. That's 10 minutes 48 seconds in, where she is going to lay out her thesis on what a nice guy is versus a genuine guy.
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. All right, so like let me go back a little bit because I saw this bit. So I think it's Cameron Diaz. She like she's breaking up with her husband or something, goes to like, you know, England, meets Jude Law's character, totally like guy next door character, right? Jude Law, not at all like a stud. And I guess they go out and they get drunk, and she wakes up and doesn't remember what happened the night before and asks if something happened, and he said no. Like they didn't have sex or anything, because she wouldn't remember, which would make it rape. So that's why she's bringing this up. Okay, so let's.
Remember this from 2006, but all of this training, as I thought,
You know, I cannot hear a damn thing. I don't
You
know.
can't hear?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It's not. No, I have to unshare and
Yeah.
share again. Hold on.
Go
Sometimes
ahead.
this
That was
happens
useful.
if it's been up for a while. And yeah, okay.
Okay, there we go.
especially like remember this is from 2006, but all of this shaming, as I have talked about so many times, is still very prevalent today. But then he says this.
Call me old-fashioned, but one doesn't have with women who are unconscious.
The fact I even have to create a pause here to let that sink in is depressing. The bar really is on the floor. It's not a
All right.
it's the law.
Okay, my dear. What is this? Also, there's an echo. You might want to trace that down, but this is fiction. And I noticed that there's no reciprocity here either. It's only the standard is only based on women. Like, do you really think that women have a better attitude towards having sex with unconscious men? and thinking of that as not being a good thing to do? The answer is no. So where are you going with this? Right?
Yeah.
They never reference the fact that women's attitudes towards men's consent in all of these circumstances is worse. But anyway, let's go with this this joke. I think this is meant to be mildly snide, right? And
what is like her statement or the movie
his statement, like, oh, call me
Well,
old fashioned.
I think that he's being tongue in cheek. Yes.
Yeah, he's being tongue in cheek. He's basically saying I'm not a criminal. right? I'm not somebody who, and he's understating it. And then she's taking this absolutely literally. You know, I was thinking about this because I was analyzing these videos, right? And we're talking like these are people who probably would fail the water level test. We got to think about this, right? Okay. And you know, guys know what the water level test, I mentioned it in a while back, but it is a test in which you have to rotate a, or actually just tip. Yeah. Tip a glass.
Yeah.
And then in your mind, you have to figure out where the water level, how to draw the water level. So you basically have a drawing of a glass straight up and down, and then the drawing of a glass without the water level tipped. And you have to figure out how to draw in the water level, right? Not insubstantial, maybe a majority, maybe a large minority of women who are college bound fail that test. And we are probably looking at one of them. She has such insufficient systems thinking that she cannot model systemically something that she experiences regularly every day of her life, or nearly every day. I don't know. Maybe she only drinks out of styrofoam cups. Who knows? But seriously, so where do we find the common ground when people like this have no ability to understand a system? So they can't really comprehend systematic ethics. Like, okay, if you're going to assert based on some dude making a small joke about how he isn't, like, he's literally not a criminal. He's humorously minimizing it by saying, "Oh, call me old fashioned, but I don't go around raping women." That is a form of humor that is like, what is it called? Deliberate minimization in a hyperbolic way, right? And she doesn't even understand that, probably because humor, you know, it requires a bit more abstract thought than average, or not average, but just a little bit of ability to understand something abstract. And also, she is using that without any consideration for the universality of her sexual ethics and thinking about, well, what do women think about men who are unconscious? Are they unusually conciliate or unusually concerned about the consent of men? Let's just look at these two. No, she just goes right to men are bad. This mild joke is proof of it, without any attempt to understand her ethics in a systematic way. Okay. I'm not sure if that...
Or she's no, you conveyed the information. You're saying that she doesn't understand that Jude Law's character was making a joke in a romantic comedy.
Yes.
That was, you know, perhaps a bit dark, but also a little bit of a virtue signal too, because it's the kind of humor that feminists engage in, right? Like, call me old fashioned, but I think it's the law, right? Like that's that kind of like really smug, you know, but he does it a lot more charming. And he is taking him literally in order to make a point, but
Yes.
I'm not sure that it's because she's dumb. I think that she's deceiving her audience. I think that she is manipulating the people who watch her that don't watch movies from 2006. I can't even remember the name of this fucking movie. And she's hoping that they'll just she's basically like taking something in media that is said one way, and I guarantee you it was made by people with, you know, feminist beliefs at that time that already agreed with that, because that's why it had some of the, you know, sort of gynocentric themes in the movie. But she's using this as a launch pad to make a commentary about the current day, and then in order to do that, she has to take something that is innocent and turn it into something sinister to make the point, and also to say that this is actually an example coming from a male character in the film that she likes. So it's like this guy who is like a good man in the movie still made this, you know, well, it's not that he made an error, but he's sort of making a statement about the absolute state of men in general, you know, when he makes that joke. So there's layers of manipulation happening, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm not so sure I'm convinced about that he's necessarily throwing other men under the bus. I think he's just making a joke on treating something that is, you know, a serious issue with a little bit of flippancy is what I was trying to.
Yeah, no,
And
I get
he's
it. But he is
reframing it.
supposed to be the good guy. He's supposed to be the guy she gets. So
Yeah.
like he can't have these flaws because it doesn't work as a romantic comedy. This is the problem with us talking about this, because we're talking about fiction. We have to like understand that the characters were written for a specific role that's going to have a specific purpose and a specific outcome. This guy gets the girl, or rather the girl gets him, because it's sort of like these films are usually told from the perspective of the woman, so that women will want to watch it. So
Yeah. Okay. But regardless, she is being deceptive, and maybe it isn't because
think
she
so.
doesn't get the humor, but she's definitely working with the assumption that her audience won't be like, wait, isn't that just tended to be slightly humorous? Right. That's just a little bit of a humorous understatement. Okay. But no, we have to take it strictly literally. And then we also have to ignore that it's not like women's attitudes towards men's consent is better. Like, let's be honest here. All right, let's finish this off.
all right, there's more to this time code then. Okay.
Yep.
Why did you stay?
Because you asked me to.
And he stayed with zero expectations. There's no you owe me. There is also no other guys would have, or anything to make himself seem better than others. This is what we call being a genuine good person, as opposed to a nice guy who is only doing things that are nice in order to be owed a body. And the next scene where they're at their first proper date.
Oh, this is really going to get interesting as she evolves her thesis and the double standard.
Yeah.
Because maybe I shouldn't reveal it too quickly, but I'm pretty sure people can guess what she thinks about women who give without receiving. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
At lunch, she reveals her childhood trauma, which meant that she can't cry.
My parents sat me down and told me that they were breaking up.
You haven't cried since you were 15.
Meanwhile, he's perfectly comfortable in his masculinity, to be honest.
I cry all the time.
You do not.
Yeah, I do.
Sure, he's also trying to make her feel better, but there is no facade that he's trying to keep up of this stoic man.
It happens to be the truth.
Are you kidding, lady?
This guy is fictional. He is written this way. I'm sorry. I just I'm not saying guys like this don't exist, but no, I'm not saying that. But like, this is literally, this guy is let's say an ideal feminist man. That's why I'm saying that this movie was written by feminists. This is the ideal feminist man. They got like the guy who was like the hot guy for movies to be in it, to play this guy. He's funny, he's charming, he's got an English accent, he cries, he's sensitive, he's got all of these qualities. It's like a Hallmark guy. He's like a Hallmark movie guy. And then this woman is saying, why aren't more men like this impossible person?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but also, does he actually cry in the movie?
I don't know. I never seen it.
Because if he doesn't actually
Chick
cry
flick.
in the movie, he's just saying this to make her feel better, to privilege her emotions in this moment. Like, that's it.
Yeah, but she would say that is, Bryrony would say that if that was true, then he is only doing it because he's trying to get in her pants.
Yeah, well, of course he is.
No.
Like,
no.
good
He
Lord.
can't. That would be bad. He can't. That can't be
What
the
the
reason.
fuck is wrong with women? Yes, of course he's trying to get in her pants. So what? We reproduce. Male and female comes together to reproduce. This is a given. She is also probably trying to get in his pants, and they're all trying to navigate all the social rules and minefield around that. Who cares? Like, why are they at war with basic aspects of being human? Oh my God, a man has a sexual feeling towards women. Like, so what?
Yeah, they hate
Good
that.
grief. Good freaking grief. Why do you? All right, let's keep going.
She doesn't think. Look, okay, let's just keep going.
A birthday card, I weep.
He is instead interested in her work. He is asking her questions. He wants to create a connection. It is back and forth throughout the whole time. It's not just
stop.
him.
Wait, but is it though? It sounds like it's just him like trying to get to know her. Is she
Yeah.
also giving back? I mean,
No, that's not important, Brian. Why are you even
oh,
mentioning
yeah.
this?
I don't know why I'm bringing that up.
No, it's all about what he gives her, not what she offers in return. That's not important. I mean, it probably is in the actual original show because it's a rom-com from when they weren't completely awful, but but it's not relevant to what she has to say about all of this. So it's not an interaction that's mutual, nor does she point it out. It's simply he is there to make her feel good, to powder her butt cheeks, whatever. He's there for her, and with no ulterior motive, none whatsoever.
Yep.
Okay,
That's just it. Like that's what she calls it an exchange, but it's clearly one-sided. But okay,
of
at least based
course.
on the clips that she puts out.
Well, yes. I mean, like I said, in the original, it's probably not this one-sided, but the clips are what she's choosing to frame her ideal relationship. All right, let's. I think we can
All right,
skip.
I
to
got
the
a
next one.
Rumble rant, and then you can give me the next time code. Nova fan gave us $1 and said, "Even if she is not dumb, I've noticed this a lot in the media literacy crowd. Apparently, they think humor and subtlety is merely a mask to justify being a terrible person." All right.
I think that a lot of cases. I know maybe Bryrony isn't doing this, but I think a lot of these people hide an inability to pick up things intellectually behind self-righteousness and bad intent in other people. All right, so are we at 1772 yet?
No, I can go there now.
Where are we? Yeah, let's go to
1301. So I'll just go to 1702. You said
we're at 13. No. If we're only at 1301, let's just keep going.
All right.
It's not just all about her, it's both of them. And then after the date, it is very clear that he wants to go in, and he does make a side comment about it.
Even when you don't.
Wait, did she say that it's not all about her?
She said that it's not all about him.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Let's keep going.
Not that was ever, again, we're talking about a fictional dreamboat character.
Yeah, we are investigating a fictional depiction from a rom-com for information about real life.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real
This is what she does.
heavyweight.
This is all of
I
her
know.
content. I
know.
know. And it's all,
Well-
again, it's picking from like a distorted version of reality that I guess appeals to women. Or if, for whatever reason, even if it's like torture porn type stuff, like Mad Men, where it's like men being bad to women, like it's like women like this, like they want to, because they want to justify a worldview, and they find it in their fiction because it doesn't exist in real life. But anyway,
Okay, keep going.
Which is why it's usually better to have it.
But he doesn't say, I bought you lunch, I stayed with you when I didn't even get anything in return. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He understands that he's in a complicated situation, as we're going to get to, and she is also in a complicated situation. Now, Miles has...
Okay.
all right, that's it. She's changing to the other couple.
Okay, here's the issue. Okay, so they're both in complicated situations, so fair enough. He doesn't want to take it too far, but that's actually it's probably normal behavior. When you get these really, really high-strung interactions where men get angry at women for taking advantage of them, it's because they've been strung along by a woman who has literally taken advantage of them, right? This is honestly, we reframe this in a way that I think is very deceitful to what's actually happening. When men take women out and give them things in the concept of courtship, they don't do that because this is a neutral and platonic activity. They do that because they believe that a future relationship is on the table. So when women lie about that, that is deceitful, and it is not entitlement for a man to say, hey, if you are lying about how genuine you are in engaging in courtship with me, in courting me, then I don't feel like I am obligated to continue to give you courtship behaviors back. And women like this, women like Bryrony refer to that as entitlement, which is, it's absurd, because if women were the ones engaging in the expensive courtship behaviors with no reciprocity from men, 100% she would say, yeah, it's you are entitled to get something back for that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That is her position. If women invest, they're entitled
Well,
to
with
get
men
something
would be
back.
stealing from
Men-
women or something, because
Yeah.
like women literally go on dates to just get free meals, and they have no intention of
You don't
like
have to-
doing anything else. And they can do this because if the men complain, then they get to frame them as in this way. Well, you're objectifying me and all this. And of course, other people will stand up for them. But there are women who literally make it a point to like get free meals out of men, and they have no problem with it. They'll go on dates with men under certain circumstances to get free meals. And no one is supposed to think of that in any way negative. We're just supposed to be like, well, that's life, guys. It's not fair, you know. So
ridiculous. Okay, so let's finish this off. You don't have to believe me, but I'm working towards a thesis with these time codes.
Is there more with this time code? Should I play the
Yeah,
Jack
just
Black part with
where
this is
are
the chick
we
I was
at?
thinking of. I don't remember her name. 1331.
All right, sure.
All right.
His very own Jasper in the form of Maggie. He could have so easily been the nice guy that we're used to struggling with.
Why do I always fall for the bad girl?
Both of them have been in a bad relationship with the same type of person.
I can't believe a girl like that would actually be with a guy like me.
But then he realizes how depressing he's being and says,
Look, I don't want to ruin your Christmas Eve. You don't have to listen to this.
Iris is the most caring person on the planet and reminds me very much of my best friend. She tries to cheer him up, wanting to help him by relaying her similar experience to him.
But I actually know how you feel.
And notice him. He is interested in what she is saying. He is listening intently.
I understand.
Okay, who the heck is she talking to? Like, what is there a huge body of men who, when they go on a date with a woman, don't actually listen to what she has to say? Is that the big thing that's going on here?
Apparently,
I have my doubts. I seriously have my doubts, but I don't know. Could we prove that?
No, but I mean, like, if she's pulling all of her sources to basically like have a conversation about how men can do things right, and she gets that from fiction, she probably gets all of her bad examples from fiction too, which is why she often quotes or like takes, from shows like Mad Men, where she tries to demonstrate misogyny. And then I don't think she talks to normal humans. I don't think so. No, I swear. I think that she is the definitional culture junkie that just watches content that supports her worldview, and just like and that's it. Like, just does that on repeat, and then she makes videos about it. And if it's something that supports her worldview about men bad, then that's what she pulls from, and she uses, because that's all she does. Like, it's all her movies and TV shows with like misogynistic men written by people who hate men, or it's like these rom-coms that have like these essentially unicorn men written by women.
It's like
this movie was written by a woman, by the way, the script for this.
It's honestly like listening to, and I know this is going to cause some irritation, but it's like listening to a white nationalist reference Birth of Nations to explain why they hate a minority group. It's like, and so they're essentially referencing a media piece that is specifically designed as agitprop against a group of people to justify their dislike of a group of people. And she's, of course, I don't know if she's oblivious. Maybe, again, you're right. She very much knows what she's doing. She doesn't care. She's just misleading her audience. But that's what we're seeing here. This woman is referring to anti-male propaganda to describe why men are so bad.
Yep.
Well, what do you expect from anti-male propaganda? And then you have the rom-coms where men are ridiculously idealized. Not always, but a lot of the times. this particular rom-com probably isn't as bad as one that I watched like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It's more in the recent vein of a rom-com where the woman does nothing to earn the man at all, and he bends over backwards for her in every conceivable way. And that's played off as healthy. I'm like, whoa. That is, well, I mean, it would be, Bryrony would consider that healthy. Okay, let's keep going.
All right. More of this one then?
Yeah, this is a long time code, but it basically lays out her entire thesis. It ends at about 17. No,
okay.
I mean, it ends at 1675.
So it's the rest of this, it's this whole chapter, because it's like a chapter. Okay.
She's
all right.
basically laying out what she expects from men. She's laying out what she expects from men. Yeah.
Yes.
Humanly possible.
And this is important. She shared how much that hurt affects you.
And how in the hell for that brief moment you could think that you were that happy.
And also the slow and painful healing process.
And you'll meet people who make you feel worthwhile again.
And in this moment, what does he do?
Well, you need this more than I do.
He connects right back to her and is there for her as well.
That's what you're doing here? You're getting over somebody?
Instead of getting angry that she made it about her or anything, he recognizes exactly what
are you freaking talking about? Who are you comparing this to? Like, what men are in her life? Like,
her husband?
Her husband. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't have married a narcissist, my dear.
I don't think that. I don't think.
You don't think that's what's happening there?
No, I think that guy perpetually walks on eggshells. If I had to guess, his life is a nightmare. I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
But why would you just go right out the bat, say, okay, well, this is obviously not normal male behavior? Are you kidding me? Normal male behavior. I mean, the men that haven't yeeted you and every other damn feminist out of society, despite the fact that you constantly are manufacturing a hateful narrative against men. Like, I don't know, dude. I think men are pretty damn tolerant, and I'm pretty sure that a normal man would probably say, hey, seems like you're more stressed out than I am in that circumstance, if he felt that it was true. Like, who the heck is she describing? Well, I know what it is. She sees the charts that show that men have stayed center left, and she looks at that and she says that means they're horrible people who would never care about another person, that have an inability to have any compassion towards another human being either. Do you think that I'm right about that? That she just looks at the chart, she says,
you mean center right?
Yeah, it's center right. Have you seen the American one? It's center left. Like maybe center extreme right in South Korea. Everywhere else is center. Okay, UK center left. The US center, like solidly center. Like, so she's looking at men who have just sort of milled around the center and saying, oh, those are far right extremists who couldn't possibly care about another human being.
Right.
And that's probably
regardless of any of that, they do. That's true. That's what it is. Because women are the ones that are moving really far left. And they're going far, far, far left. And the men are not following, and they're like, what's wrong with you? Don't you believe the good things? Aren't you a good person? I guess you're not. And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so I think that's what she's thinking of when she thinks of the average man. Whereas for me, I'm thinking about the men that I've actually, known in my lifetime. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure if I were in that situation and I was demonstrating some pain, they would pick that up and be concerned. So I don't know what strain of man outside of her husband that she has slathered herself in, but this is not like the thing that she's comparing this to, the average man that she's comparing this to and giving this lecture about, it doesn't exist. It's just an ugly stereotype that she's made up. And I think the reason why she does this is because what it does is it's presenting men as not this way. Now, no, men are not like Jude Law in this rom-com. right? They don't look, the average man doesn't look like that, right? The average man looks more like Jack Black. But in my experience, and maybe I'm wrong, men do care quite a bit about women being in pain.
Yep.
Like, this is not something that they're indifferent to. So I don't think this behavior is really that unusual. Like the issue with rom-com men is somehow they have the witty, debonair, rascally charm of a narcissistic person with a narcissistic personality disorder, with a man with a narcissistic personality style or sociopathic personality style. And they also are kind and they're there and they're with you and they want to make sure you feel good. And they're also rich and they also look like Jude Law, and they also are a ninja surgeon, assassin, time lord. Like it's some of these things are plausible. Having the scintillating wit and confidence of a narcissist or a sociopath, you can get that in a narcissist or a sociopath. A man who actually genuinely cares about you, you can get that in a conscientious man who probably will be slightly awkward on your first dates. So, I mean, those two things are possible to get in. It's not as possible to get all of that in one man. And if it is, he's married to a woman who is a lot better looking than you. And I mean that to any woman listening. No offense. Okay, let's keep going.
Let's do more.
She was doing, relating to him and connecting with him, like, I get what you're going through. I've been through this too. We can get through this. He can see the issues that she's been dealing with in her toxic, twisted situationship.
So that makes it impossible to forget him, which is great for him, but sucks for you.
And she can see the issues that he's been dealing with this girlfriend who did not give a toss about him at all. Things are made a lot easier from an outsider perspective to see exactly what's so screwed up. And then he decides that he's going to cheer them both up.
I'm making you some fettuccine, and we are going to celebrate being young and being alive.
Okay, I'm just pausing there. I don't want to incite the censorship gods. Okay.
Yeah.
Often known as the nice guy line.
You really are an incredibly decent man.
I know. It's always been my problem.
Now, this is what nice guys can say a lot. However, he is a genuine guy who isn't doing this with an ulterior motive of sleeping with her. He's not trying to do any of this.
Why would you assume that?
Well, wait a minute though. I think that the problem with this line of reasoning is it's completely subjective. Like, if a man said the exact same thing and his expectations were a little bit more out in the open or at some point came out or whatever, then this whole thing about making a special exception for this guy is out the window. It's like this whole nice guy thing. It's just a weapon that women use against men that they don't actually like, but they want something from. So they pretend that they're interested, or they get those men interested, and then they get them to give them things, and they don't say, look, this isn't going anywhere. I just want you to know I'm not interested. None of this upfront shit, because they don't want to be confrontational. So instead, they take the whatever goodwill these men have. And if those men get the impression that there's a connection that they're trying to pursue, I mean, they're the only ones that are taking risks here. And this just gives women plausible deniability, women like this. So she goes, well, he sounds like a nice guy, but because I know how the movie ends, I'm going to be okay with all of it. I'm going to forgive everything. I'm going to make excuses for it. But if the fictional character was just written a different way, then this would say a completely different thing about men in real life. This is what I'm saying. This is nonsensical arguments. And she's making excuses because she knows, because the character is written, she knows where the story goes. So she forgives. And then she says, well, this sounds like a thing, but it's not like those awful, awful guys that call themselves nice guys. Again, I think that the overwhelming majority of nice guys are just guys that are maybe a little socially awkward, or they're not really good at reading the tea leaves or whatever, but I don't even blame them for that. Like it's not an easy world to navigate, the dating world. It's really not, because women give men nothing. They give them nothing, and then they get mad because men don't approach. They give them nothing, like no like ability to understand what is right and what is okay to do and what's not. And when you ask them, they'll just be like, well, just don't rape us. It's like, no, stupid. Like, people want to understand what is the appropriate way to approach a woman that you're interested in without making them call the cops on you. And there's no answer. And they like that. They like this idea that men are always on the back foot. And so this is why, by the way, it's probably the largest reason why men are just checking out. It's probably the largest reason. And Bryrony is not making things better. And of course, she doesn't want to, because she's got what she wants.
Yeah. And now she gets to destroy a whole bunch of other women's ability to form a partnership.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, like this is driven by intrasexual competition among women. I should pull up my little perplexity conversation about that. Read it out to you guys at some point. All right, let's finish this.
All right.
To get her into bed or feeling like she owes him at all. He does get interested in her but doesn't feel like she owes him for his niceness. They both go to support Arthur and help him gain confidence. And of course, the music composer Miles.
It's cheeky.
It sounds like him.
And I'm sorry, but this transition,
I also wrote one that sounds like you.
my little heart.
I used only the good notes.
Yes, he likes her very clearly, but there is no pressure put on her. You know that I believe in complexities and nuance. Now, I love this.
Just know how to play an instrument, guys. Just like do everything. Even the mid dude, the kind of frumpy dude, has like qualities that are difficult. Like, he's funny, because Jack Black was funny back then. And he knows music, and they use that. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so charmed. Why aren't more men professional musician actors and comedians when they're not absolute stud muffins? Why aren't all men this way? But you know, women are held to really crazy standards, guys.
Yeah, I know. Like the whole thing. Well, Danny DeVito. Yeah, well, Danny DeVito is a famous comedian and millionaire.
He's Danny DeVito. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A guy a random guy who looks like Danny DeVito? No.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference between looking like Steve Buscemi and being Steve Buscemi. I'm sorry. You know.
Well, that's also constructing a narrative, because it really like they want that. What she's constructing is a narrative around why men aren't worth it. Basically, men aren't worth your time. Men aren't worth your effort. Because that's why she has this she's comparing these men to this invisible, extremely constructed, negative average man, right? And yeah, in some ways, like, an average man's not going to be a professional musician. He's not going to be a professional actor. He's not going to be whatever Jude Law is supposed to be here. But that doesn't mean the average man isn't going to care about how you feel, right? In fact, that's probably the definition of what makes an average man better than the sociopaths with their sociopathic personality style that charm you and you all seem to gravitate towards, right? Is that the average man will care about your well-being. Okay, so that's reasonable. So the thing that she's doing is she's being sort of deceitful about what makes these characters attractive. She's saying it's because they're being nice. When, if you look at the statistics, it's because, you know, Jude Law probably has a higher than average incomes, very good looking, very charming, right? Has that ability to give the feeling of having a narcissistic personality disorder without necessarily being one. Right. And then also Jack Black, charming musician, etc. These men are not average. So right there, women who say I deserve that are hitting well above average. And it's not that the fact that these men are kind is not why. And that's the thing that's different than the average. You see what I'm saying? The thing that's different between Jack Black and Jude Law and the average man is not the kindness. It's the wealth. It's the unusual skill. It's being able to be charming without necessarily being a sociopath. It's all of these other things that make them distinct from the average man. But what she's saying is what makes them different is the kindness. And that is bullshit.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. That's the end of that time code. We're at
Okay,
no,
all right.
actually, wait, are we 17? No, 16. Yeah, that's the end of that time code.
Okay, so let me take a look and I will find the next time code. Just give me a sec. I gotta go over to my little perplexity. Okay, so 1675 is where we're at now, or where are we at? Brad?
1612.
Okay, go to 1671.
All right. Wait, 1671. That's not a thing.
1650. The hell
Okay.
you're right. That isn't a thing.
All right. Fear mongering us into submission is what this chapter is called.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know me and my ageism content that I talk about a lot. So I looked into this as well, and the American Psychological Association said a number of studies have linked stress with shorter telomeres, a chromosome component that's been associated with cellular aging and risk for heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Your early life actually determines a lot of this.
What the heck is this? Oh my God! Did we get into the wrong? Or so this is 1650. Huh.
17. Well, yeah, that was 1650.
Okay, let's keep going. Maybe it gets to a point.
Okay.
Affected, okay? It affects us all equally. So, yay? If the person carrying the baby is stressed, this even affects the baby themselves. In other words, be kinder to pregnant people and increase government support.
Pregnant
Be better
people.
for society as a whole.
No, it wouldn't.
She has no plans on having kids, by the way. And she was trying to make the case against women having kids. Like, I think there was some clip of a guy saying, well, it's what women are designed for. And she was offended by that scientific fact. I hate to tell you, but men are not designed for it. And it's funny, too, because sometimes, well, a lot of times, women will brag about their ability to have babies, but also resent the ability to have babies. Weird, isn't it?
Slightly.
Yeah.
Single women over the age of 35 were more likely to be killed by a terrorist than to get married. Okay, that was horrible.
As much as I love this movie, I'm debunking this for everyone's benefit right now.
Okay. What the hell? But you don't want single women to get married, so why does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, if you do, there are no men that are good enough.
Yeah. So what's your point? Why do you need to debunk this when it should be perfectly fine that your entire audience will never get married? Like, isn't that what you're going for? Make them feel good about the fact that they have listened to you to the point where they're completely unmarriageable? Oh man. Okay.
All right.
I think that this is going a little bit into the weeds.
Is this not the right?
Yeah, I think this is getting into the weeds.
Basically, this is like fear mongering men fear mongering women into becoming wives and mothers. Because that's the only way women will have kids, by the way, is if men terrify them into it. Just terrify them.
So basically everything that feminists say patriarchy does was essential to actually perpetuating the human species, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay, go to 17.
Yeah, we have to be against all of that. Okay, go to what?
1750.
All right.
I
think this is correct.
In a relationship. Plus the stat sounds terrifying, right? It was a throwaway clip from a reporter that the editor included. She's been caught in the same panic that happened to all women of this time. Think about people like Bridget Jones, the Sex and the City characters, all of whom were slightly fearful all the time. There was an undercurrent of panic. Always.
In a place alone means you don't need a man.
I don't. Everyone needs a man. That's why I rent. If you own and he still rents, then the power structure is all off. It's emasculating. Men don't want a woman who's too self-sufficient.
I'm sorry, did someone just order a Victorian straight up?
Okay, what is this supposed to prove?
Sex and the City is a show about real women in a real period of time, and they had real... It was all real, Allison. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. Enough of this digression. This is ridiculous. Let's get back on track. All right. So basically what what she's done with her segments on what makes a good guy is genuine man gives care, time, protection, and attention with zero expectations and no sense that the woman owes him sex, affection, or even gratitude in proportion to what he gives. Not even gratitude, guys. Not even a thank you. Any hint of I did X, therefore you owe me Y moves a man from genuine good guy to nice guy in her framework. Okay. Now let's go to the next part where she warns women about crumbs. These are the time codes where she tells women never to accept a one-sided giving and to cut off men who do what Graham and Miles are morally praised for. So we just went through her praising of Graham and Miles. Giving without asking for anything concrete in the return. So 626.
626?
Yeah, it's a little bit going back and forth, but I'm laying out a thesis here. So 626. 623,
right.
sorry.
So it's like right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lesson number 2. The idea of you is always flawed. Amanda is our workaholic woman who gets told off by her man who is jealous of how much she works.
If I work a little bit too much, I never stop hearing about it.
I don't think you ever really loved me. How's that? No, I think you love the idea of you and me, but not so much me.
How many relationships have you seen struggle or completely break down because the idea of someone doesn't match up to like their reality? Because oh my goodness, they
honestly.
Not
honestly,
TV and movies.
Yeah. Also, what was his side of this argument? Like, if a woman had said, "You complain if I stay late at work," you know, or if a woman had said, or a man had said to a woman, "You complain when I stay late at work." There needs to be a bit more there before it becomes illegitimate, right? See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am staying late at work because I'm paying for your new dining set or something. You know, there has to be something more because honestly, workaholism is an actual legitimate complaint, even if it's directed towards a boss babe. So just looking at that it doesn't give you where to fall on the argument. But of course, she's going to fall. We know where she's going to fall. So let us continue.
All right.
Think of Charlotte and the doctor from Sex and the City. She had her checklist that she was going through and thought that he would be able to fit the bill of the sort of life that she wanted to lead. Miserable. She loved the idea of him, but not actually him. Watch this video from Olay in case you haven't seen it yet. Linked below. Ted Mosby is the pinnacle of this because he projects all sorts of ideas onto every single woman he ever meets. Ethan liked the idea of this beautiful, driven, successful woman, but the reality is that she is just like him. She is dedicated to her work. And like, that's a problem because, don't you know, women need to dull their sparkle in order for their man to be able to shine.
You just don't want to be what I need.
This.
Okay. Yeah, but so they were both incompatible because they were both the same type of person. So is Jude Law far less ambitious and driven, or the character he's playing far less ambitious and driven? Like, it's an interesting setup to have this woman be incompatible with the reverse type of man than she is, right? You know, like her mirror image. But do they even go into it? No idea. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
He said it all right there. You are not warping yourself to be what I want. Therefore, I'm in the right for cheating on you.
I mean, you're the only woman on the face of the earth who breaks.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And doesn't even shed a tear.
So Amanda gets these esophagus spasms instead.
I'll be all right.
I know. I'm thinking about me.
Of course he would.
But he's like the guy that he's supposed to be. Again, fictional character. He is literally the guy that she is supposed to break up with. And the movie written by a woman is telling you these are all of the qualities I hate. This is why this breakup is justified or whatever. This disintegration of the relationship. So like, yeah, Edward Burns, that's the guy who plays the boyfriend. Yeah, he's gonna say all of the wrong things over the top so that when she goes and meets with Jude Law, everything is like you don't feel bad. You don't feel like she's cheating. If he was a good man, that would change the dynamic of everything. So again, we have to see this guy as like the worst possible boyfriend. And then Bryrony's pointing at it like, look at that. That's guys. Isn't that so true? It's like, no, that guy doesn't exist. He's made up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yep.
It bothers me because like I don't know. It just bothers me. Like pointing at fiction and then saying this is emblematic of reality. Like, dude, go touch grass. Like go out and talk to real human beings.
Yeah, and there's no real understanding that this is all a passion play, specifically a passion play for women. Okay, so we're basically analyzing a porno right now. Like it is about as emotionally authentic as a porno. Like rom-coms are as emotionally authentic as pornos. They're just for women. And we're analyzing it for understanding the depth of human connection. There's something seriously wrong with that. Sorry, I gave you the wrong time code. Go to 256. Look, the void cat containment device is containing her.
Maybe I'm interested in you. Just send her little tiny messages sometimes and have little secret moments like this. Also, we know that he's evil because he played that in A Knight's Tale before this. And then to rub salt in her weeping wound, she finds out that he's actually proposed to the other woman that he's been seeing at the office. I have to say, I hate how rom-coms are not taken seriously because the acting in this is absolutely impeccable. This is the most beautiful fake cottage you've ever seen.
Is this really the time code you
She
wanted?
reads. She reads Playboy for the articles, guys. God damn. The acting is impeccable. Yes, it's acting. By definition,
Is it though?
Is a flattening.
Like, why is again the boy? So like to set up the plot, you have two women. What's the name of the chick that played Bridget Jones? Does anyone remember? Anyway, you got the Bridget Jones lady, or is she the lady from Titanic? I don't know.
Bridget Jones wasn't too bad, but go ahead.
We got the lady from Titanic. I think it's the lady from Titanic. And then you have Cameron Diaz. And they both have bad experiences with men. I guess they were men they were like going to marry, so they were with them for a while. Which is also strange because you would think that if these men were like bad boyfriends, they would figure that out before they got engaged or their relationship got too serious. And remember, these are all fictional. So a woman wrote this story. A woman said, I want to tell a story where a woman gets into leaves a bad relationship that's really abusive or toxic or whatever, and then finds a good man while she's on holiday, because I'm going to call it holiday, and that's what it's going to be about. And so Rufus Sewell and Edward Burns are the bad boyfriends. I like Rufus Sewell, by the way. I liked him in Dark City. And so yeah, they're the bad boyfriends. So they have to have all of the worst possible traits that the writer thinks men could have, which is actually like really over the top. Like I guess he shows off, like Rufus Sewell's character shows off like another woman at like a big public thing, like a party, and he probably just doesn't give a shit that this happened. And it's like it begs more questions, like, well, why didn't she know this early on? Like why wasn't she paying attention? Was she just like all in on this? Like why is it written this way? There's nothing about this that seems believable to me. And yet Bryrony is like acting like this is just so good. I'm sorry, but it's about as realistic as a Hallmark movie.
Or porn.
And Hallmark movies are at least like somewhat generous to the ex, in terms of like the reasoning behind things. So anyway, I'm just Kate Winslet, thank you. Renee Zellweger. I don't know which one it is. I think it is Kate Winslet. I think Kate Winslet is the chick in this. She was also in that what was that movie with Jim Carrey? The Beautiful Mind movie. Pisses me off. But anyway, you know what I'm saying?
So
yeah.
Okay, let's finish off this time code.
All right.
Yes, that's right. This isn't even real.
Toured that whole area and didn't quite find the chocolate box cottage she was looking for. So she just hired a field and drew it and had someone build it.
Please
you're ruining it.
Sorry. We can't bear it. Upsetting. We can't bear it.
Just burst the bubble.
Well,
Sorry.
I know this moment is so dark, but I love the way that she says,
Low point.
Low point. No man ever is worth that kind of pain. For the breadcrumber, it's all about the ego, the knowledge that they've got power over someone that they barely have to pay any attention to. And they know that they'll always be there waiting for them. It's like having a backup that you really do not respect. This only traps people, and Iris displays this the most fully. How do I reach you? This dude is fully engaged, sending her messages like this. At this point, Iris needs to just reach out to his fiance and tell her who he is, because he is a menace. Instead, she's
okay,
like,
all right. Well, yeah, if she had an ethical core, that's exactly what she'd do. In fact, she wouldn't be texting somebody else's fiance at all. But regardless, let's set that aside. So essentially what she said is that women shouldn't give without reciprocation. Do you see the exact opposite messages that are coming out here? Men should give without any expectation of reciprocation, relationship, gratitude. Women, if they give, they should get something back. Big double standard. Like I don't even know if we need to continue with this one, because she's just kicked herself in her own ass. You know, call up Chris Kingle. There's a new series for him.
Yeah, pounded herself in the ass with her own ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that is how this goes. This is what they do, right? And
right,
again,
so,
this well, anyway, yeah. So let's move on to the other video.
Well, no, I'll give this summation. So she's essentially tells women that accepting that same dynamic, giving loyalty, emotional labor, and availability without any commitment or concrete return is exactly what traps them, and that they should nip, snip, and refuse crumbs. We can go to nip, snip if you wish. 610. The 610 mark is where the nip, snip comes in. All right, this is what she says. If you're not getting anything as a woman, she says, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, Brian.
They showed you exactly where their priority lies. Why go back? Because you think that's all you deserve. Snip, snip, cut them off. You are not a sparrow. You do not need to wait around for the crumbs that may fall from their plate. But how do you do that? We'll get to that.
Men should. Literally. Men should. Men should be in a holding pattern around women. And if they even want to have reciprocation, even if they quietly think, wow, she's hot, I'd like to bang her up against the refrigerator, they are the problem, right? They are secret nice guys who deserve to be pelted with dog feces. Like this is her attitude. Women don't, be withholding. Don't give without getting, right? But men, you give and give and give and give and give. You're right, Brian. You're right, Brian. Her husband is living a nightmare. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one, because I could do my complete summation of this video for you guys while you pull up the next.
Which one do you want to do next? The other Bryrony,
okay,
Claire,
I'll
the
tell
moral
you which
panic
one.
of the single woman, or
let's take a break from Bryrony Claire and go to
Rainbow Shite. Okay.
Rainbow Shite. Yeah, let's do some Rainbow Shite. This we're going to be moving into more of a political statement now. So essentially, for men, this is Bryrony. For men, give care, time, and emotional support with zero expectations. Don't even have them in your heart, guys. You should be like Buddha, capable of simply radiating loving kindness with no intention of any kind of nefarious interest. Attaching expectations makes you a nice guy villain, not a good guy. And make sure that you don't feel them somewhere inside you. Right? You should be wanting to help this woman, give her everything without having any particular attachment to her or expectation. And for women, do not give time, care, and emotional support without getting something substantive in return. Saying that staying in non-reciprocal situation is a symptom of damaged self-worth and must be cut off. So apparently men should have damaged self-worth and women should value themselves more. These two rule sets cannot both operate symmetrically in the same relationship. If a man follows her ideal and gives freely with no expectations, he becomes precisely the sort of one-sided giver she tells women to cut off as breadcrumbs or deadweight the moment he wants reciprocity, right? Boundaries or any concrete return. So she is teaching her audience to kill their relationships. Because if they start to have a relationship with a man, and he wants a commitment, or he wants gratitude, or he wants anything in return, she's saying you got to end that. He should want nothing, right? Nothing. And you should give. And the instant that you are expected to do anything, end it. Right. And if you are in a situation where he requires anything, it's like he's violated your soul. So she's basically teaching her audience to destroy their romantic prospects, to ensure that they're alone, because there's no way they can navigate this. There's no path. There's no path on Bryrony's shit show where you can go from being potentially in a relationship and into maintaining that relationship, right? There's only death to relationships that she is in this. Okay, all right. So let us move on to the next double standard haver. Rainbow Shite. Okay, 714.
All right, 714. So Rainbow Shite's video is called I Left the Left, and it's her reacting to women on social media making videos about why they walked away from leftism, feminism, or communism. And okay, so what was the first time code?
Okay, just give me a sec.
He's going to educate them on why they're dumb.
714. 714.
All right. Or why they were never, one of us anyway.
Oh, and also this is anti-communist. So this whole shtick is communist versus capitalist. I know it's a bit of a digression from double standards between men and women, but not really. So let's do it.
All right.
And also just something that I have to ask all of these people who say stuff like this and are like fear-mongering about like communism and being like, communism is bad, they're working on a takeover. Do you know what communism is? Do you know what communism is? Can you tell me what communism is and why you think it's bad without just saying, because the government told me? Because that's what I was told my whole life. Do you actually know what it is and what it means? Do you even know what capitalism is and why capitalism is good? Like, why is capitalism good and communism bad? Why are these your beliefs? Tell me what they are and why you think that. 99%.
Okay. All right. We got to stop it. Fine. Stop. We got to answer this. We got to delve into the commie gobbledygook. Why is communism bad? Because it's failed every time it's been tried.
Well, it's
because
never really been tried, Allison.
Because it doesn't have a meritocracy, right? It gives people based on need instead of merit. But the problem is that incentivizes lying about your needs. Whereas if you incentivize merit, you actually get productivity that elevates everybody's standard of living. And that's another thing. Also, because whatever communism you espouse, you still need a scapegoat group. Yes, you do. Because the instant you start talking about men's issues, suddenly your communism goes out the window. Like some kind of preacher came at you with a freaking cross, and it just like it leaves you like the spirit of Satan. It's gone. So, it's if your compassion and your concern for people is conditional on their genital configuration, you're not a compassionate and concerned individual. And let's see what else. Not engagement. So, and every communist regime ends up having to destroy civil liberties. Right? So you end up being impoverished in terms of freedom. And also what we have now is this weird socialism where bureaucrats make up shit about us in order to justify control and taking our money. Is that really is that a better system? Is that a better system where we have these unaccountable, self-righteous, religious bureaucrats who have this belief that they are better than us, which justifies taking our tax money, taking away our it justifies taking away our freedom and then giving us a bill. The problem is what this facilitates, what this incentivizes. Communism, and I was thinking about this when I was thinking about capitalism versus communism. the difference is what capitalists versus communists will do for work. Capitalists will do a job for money. Communists will lie their ass off for money. And they will manufacture needs that they don't actually have. So what ends up happening in the system is it's not, and I know that capitalism isn't perfect, right? And definitely we're in a late stage of something right now, but at least it's incentivizing people being productive, people doing things that other people need them to do, and then we'll give them money for. What does communism incentivize? Except either sucking up to the people who have money, or have material goods, or lying about your needs in order to get material goods. And you will never convince me that communism is good, because I was actually in Soviet Russia. And that was the worst experience not the worst experience, because I have been through bombing, but it was in the context of something that's supposed to be peacetime, it was the worst experience. It was a grindingly depressing place. It was a grindingly depressing place. And the proof is in the pudding. Okay? That's what I have to say. So the proof is in what it incentivizes. But I didn't necessarily want to get into a discussion of capitalism versus communism. What I wanted to point out is that she can't define the arguments for the other side at all. She can't engage with them. So what she does instead is she moralizes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to.
Well, I wanted to say something earlier in this video. I don't know where the time code is. Or maybe it's after, but I think it's before this. I thought something interesting happened that I thought was worth pointing out. Also, I got a Rumble rant I should read. But she said that, these people are like saying that there's a secret communists are like trying to like infiltrate and subvert everything. And then she goes and says, actually, it's not secret at all. We're all right here. We're basically telling you what we're doing. Don't you believe that, aren't you a decent person? And I'm just like, interesting, right? Because would a Nazi be able to do that? Would a Nazi be able to go on YouTube and say, yeah, I'm a Nazi? What, do you think I'm hiding? I'm not hiding. What happens to people who even like vaguely try to do that? They get banned on every platform. Even people who aren't Nazis, people who are not Nazis at all, okay, are banned because people think they are. But communists can come out and just be, yeah, I'm a communist. Yep. Right here, all of BreadTube, they're all commies. They're different kinds, whatever. I don't believe in the multiple flavors of communism, just like I don't believe in the multiple flavors of feminism. It's all the same shit to me. But it's really interesting that a communist can just say it and say it proudly and nothing happens to them. And this is actually endemic of something that happened to me. So back when Twitter was owned by, back when it was Twitter, I had a Twitter account and I would post on there and I was growing and I had a lot of friends and making connections and whatnot. And then one day I basically just said something that is absolutely true, which is that Nazis and communists are basically the same shit. They're cut from the same cloth and they just have slightly different views on what their totalitarian regime looks like. And the communists were pissed off at me. And it was the tweet of all the stuff that I talked about men's rights online. That was the thing that got me banned on Twitter. Was that I basically said, I don't like communists or Nazis. That was my sin. And I still don't. I'm not a fan, but I do think it's fascinating that communists can just be communists online. They can be communists wherever. There's communist bookstores. There's, fucking communist rock bands that just exist. Nazis couldn't do that. And I think that's very telling. I mean, in Germany, you can probably be a communist. You can't even say anything about the Nazi party in Germany without getting like your life destroyed because they feel so much shame for that. And I just think that's interesting. So I just wanted to point that out, that Queer Kiwi is not like flirting with communism. She admits to it and she's proud of it. And she thinks that it's something that everyone should aspire to and that it's just a good thing. Of course, being a woman of a young woman, she doesn't have to actually face the consequences for any of this stuff, because a lot of these commie women, they are just like, talking shit online, trying to get men to commit, I don't know, actual assassinations on their behalf, some of which have actually come to fruition. But we're still just supposed to be like, yeah, you guys aren't the violent ones. You just care about people. You're the caring people. You're the good people that believe the good things.
Except for their scapegoat groups and people who disagree with them, because that's
yeah,
what's
but
really
that's good to
interesting.
do. It's good to have the scapegoat groups and attack those scapegoats.
But you can really see, like, I would say that, and this might get me in crosshairs of a lot of anger, but I think that she actually embraces what she considers to be far right, stereotypical far right views. It's just that what she doesn't like is that behavior with people who are on the right or fiscally conservative or libertarians. They have a set of principles that they feel like should be applied to everyone. And when those principles, like basically it's you have the option to succeed in the meritocracy, but you have to own your successes and your failures. So there's a recognition that people's actions and choices have consequences that are potentially negative, and that they should suffer those consequences. And she looks at that and she considers it to be callousness and disregard and a lack of compassion, except if that attitude is directed towards her scapegoat groups. Then it's not even harsh enough. Because, so for example, if women end up being impoverished due to their own choices, that is an injustice that needs to be fixed. If men end up being impoverished because of their own choices, not only is that something that men should endure, they should also be taking responsibility for the system that put them in the position in the first place. So not only should men suffer the consequences of their own actions, they should also be blamed and shamed for the consequences of men they have no actual control over. So it's like she takes this concept of the expectation that you live with the consequences of your actions and choices, and if it's applied to her groups that she thinks should be protected, she sees it as callous and wrong. If it's applied to the groups that she doesn't care about or she thinks should be punished, she considers it not enough. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That it should be even worse. Like, so she's not like, is that an ethical system? No, it's not an ethical system. It's a tribalist belief system. The good people deserve the good things, and the bad people deserve the bad things, and the bad people are our scapegoat group. Well, why are they your scapegoat group? Is it because of their actions? No, it's because we blame them. We blame each individual person in our scapegoat group for the criminal actions of the minority of criminals in that group, and for the actions of people that, are elites in that group. So we essentially blame men for the actions of criminals. We say men have the intentions of criminals and they have the ability of elite men, and they deserve to be condemned as a group. So instead of saying, oh, well, we'll judge men by their individual actions like people do on the right or with more conservative values. I think those values are now conservative. Used to be more, they were just liberal, but whatever. Now she says, no, they aren't judged enough. So all of the things that she would consider to be lack of compassion, lack of consideration, are reframed as justice when they're inflicted on the group she thinks deserves it. And that's the problem with commies. They don't, like, that's literally the problem.
Aside from the mass murder and the starvation of tens of millions of people, but that's also the fault of the capitalists somehow. So.
Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying, Brian. This is the precondition for justifying all of that, which is the bad people, regardless of their actions, my scapegoat group, doing anything to them is justice, right? And you can't question that, or you go in the scapegoat group too. That's what's horrible, because communist thinking leads to that. And
Yeah.
I'd have to sit down and really go step by step to explain it, but intuitively I understand that. So hopefully you guys are picking it up too. All right, let's keep
All
going.
right, I got a Rumble rant I didn't read before from NovaFan21, gives $1 and says if they were actually smart, then they would realize a lot of the time it's the women's fault for irresponsibly chasing bad boys and lack self-reflection. Oh wait, I just realized, LOL. That was in reference to the last video. Okay, so what you want me to keep playing this time code or is there another one?
Yes, keep playing it.
All right.
They cannot give you an answer to that. It is just because they've been told that. And then they turn around and say that we're the ones who are sheep and listening to everything everyone is telling us. Girl, if I'm anti-capitalism, obviously that's not what's happening, considering we live in a capitalistic society. I don't know. Food for thought there. I think it's also
Not really
important to note that, like,
I mean, honestly,
we don't
we're
really,
not really
we don't live in what I guess we live in a society that you would call capitalist. I don't like the word capitalism. I don't use it. I believe in I think it's just property rights, and we don't live in a society where we actually have property rights to the degree that would without like government interference of some kind. We just don't.
Okay.
It's a mixed economy for the most part.
The point is that she's saying here that 99% of anti-communist conservatives cannot explain what communism is or why it's bad. Beyond because the government told me, and frames them as mindless sheep. Go to 1944. And this is where she starts talking about ex-leftists.
Yeah.
All right.
You in places that have like more mixed politics or whatever. That's sort of when they come out of their shell again as being conservative. And my question that I have for them in that instance is that it's like, are you genuinely actually like holding conservative values in like a political way where like you know what the conservative politics are and what they stand for? Or are you conservative in the way that it protects you? Being a conservative just means you don't have to care about anything, and that includes not even looking into conservative policy or anything.
Oh, lady, give me a fucking break. Your entire thoughtscape scapegoats half the human race. Right? And honestly, the intersectional pipeline is basically having to care about the least amount of people possible. Let's be honest. And it's all about virtue signaling. Okay. Anyway, so essentially what she's saying, I'm trying to keep this meta. Essentially what she's saying is anybody who opposes her is morally illegitimate and criminal because they lack any kind of human compassion. So she basically is saying there's me and the people who believe like I do, and then there are the demons. They're the orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, and she suggests many ex-leftists who become conservative are really just moderates who don't enjoy having to care and know things. Again, implying that conservatism is primarily a refuge for the lazy and intellectually indifferent. That replaces engagement with conservative philosophical or policy arguments with a personality diagnosis. So she's the good people and she believes the good things. Everybody else is orcs that just don't know what they're just lazy and they hate people. This is her politics. And she has the audacity to charge other people with being black and white thinkers. She has no concept. And that's why I brought up initially the whole like water level test. She's no concept that other people might know things that she doesn't. But of course, she's entirely humble, and she's the good person who cares about people.
Yeah.
Just as long as you agree with it.
It's not an intellectual position. It's not a rational position. It's just like a moral position, like to
Moralizing
her. I'm not
position,
saying that
yeah.
it's right, but it's what
It's
how she frames it. She's moralizing. It's just I'm moral. You're
who
not.
are the good people? Who are the
Yeah.
good people? And I'm the good people. The people who agree with me are the good people. And she probably doesn't even understand how important freedom of conscience is because she is denying it. You notice this is what she's doing. She's denying freedom of consciousness to anybody but herself. and people who agree with her. And she
Mhm.
probably doesn't even know the history of how bloody these kinds of wars where people stop respecting each other's freedom of conscience gets, where we stop respecting our right to believe as we do, like that people have different belief systems. She probably never even cracked open a history book and even understands the level of absolute horror that she's playing with right now by denying people their right to freedom of conscience. Oh, it's all just a game to these women.
Yep.
Okay. And
All right.
go to 46. I think that might be the right one.
46.
Yeah, I'll double check to make sure that this is the right one. Are you okay?
Yeah,
don't hear
no.
anything.
I moved up. I moved to 46 basically. No, I'm just thinking like
4730. Sorry, 4730.
4730.
Go to 4730. Yeah.
Yeah, 4730. Okay.
I'm having to cross-reference these time
about
codes.
themselves and the way that they live their lives, and they will do whatever it means to continue to feel that way. Like, it's something a lot of these ex-leftists share. This idea that when they were on the left, they were constantly angry and upset and like just so full of rage and needing an outlet and to yell at everybody, and it was pushing people away and making them really unfriendly, and that they were ashamed of who they were. They were like living in this victim mentality that made them feel small and like they couldn't accomplish anything. All this does is spread light on the fact that they never truly believed in these things, and they never actually internalized the point.
Is there more to this clip?
Yeah, they
Should I
never
keep going?
actually believe these things. Like,
Yeah, because like
If-
being a feminist is nothing to do with being a victim, Allison. It's got nothing to do
never
with that.
internalize the point. Okay, well, let's find out. What is the point that they did not internalize, my dear?
Grasped what it is we are saying because they never cared to actually look at what it means.
What was it?
What we are actually
What was
saying.
it?
Like, yes.
What are you
it's
saying?
hard to be on the side that fights for compassion.
No. Don't get on a digression.
It's hard to fight on the side that's compassionate. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's always been this way. It's always been this way, and it's not just leftism. I hate to break it to you. Liberalism is like this too. Liberalism is, oh, I'm a liberal. I'm like, I believe the good things. Do you not believe the good things? And it's a lot of hard work to humble yourself enough to say, you know what? Actually, there's a lot of fucked up shit over here, and maybe I shouldn't be so like self-assured that I'm on the right side of these opinions. But these people, they take it to the extreme. Like it's compassion. Like basically, exclude, like the whole thing about excluding the outgroup, those people aren't people. So when they say compassion, they only mean for their people, for the party.
Well,
So yeah,
what's interesting about this is by claiming that they are the compassionate ones, they can basically eradicate the humanity of anybody who disagrees with them, which isn't very
because they're
compassionate.
no longer
if you think about it.
compassionate.
But
of course it
what is
isn't.
it?
It's
What-
all
like,
fake, but
this is all digression. So I'm still waiting for her to tell me what the deep gnosis, like what is the deep wisdom that ex-leftists don't get. Let's keep going. I want her to say it.
To exist in a world where you are constantly noticing bigotry, like when you are constantly noticing inequality and like you take a stance and like live your life trying to care about people and trying
to wait. Yeah, but not your scapegoat groups and not people who don't agree with you. You don't have to care about them. So you're constantly witnessing bigotry. So maybe they're right that they're saying, well, I always felt angry. So this is their effect on the. So basically what you're saying is that this is the effect, but you shouldn't care about it. Like you shouldn't be concerned about it. I mean, ultimately, this is an emotional argument. We're not talking about whether or not this is correct, but still, what is the gnosis? What's the wisdom? Like, I feel, again, this is getting a digression into, oh, you have to do this. Well, what is the great insight that you say people who are ex-leftists or conservatives aren't getting about your position? Has she covered that yet? Let's keep going.
No.
I'll give her like another minute.
All right.
Not just for yourself, but for everyone. Like, that is hard. It can be
How
upsetting and frustrating.
is it?
Like, yes, that is all.
How is it doing anything for anyone?
How what?
How is it doing anything for anyone?
Do
Well, we're
how
just
is-
sitting here like, well, just okay, no, never mind. Let's keep going. That still doesn't feel like she's conveying a wisdom, right? Just saying, well, you gotta, everything is misogyny and you've got to point it all out, right? Okay. But where's the ultimate wisdom in this? Where's the insight? Where's the nuance?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the beef? Okay, just give her
All
a
right.
few more seconds.
All right, let's.
And we'll
Yep, I'm
conclude.
trying. You keep talking. I'm trying to get through this. Okay, let's keep going.
Upset and like know I am making the world better for other people than be comfortable and like ignorant. I would rather live in like frustration and anger and upset than comfortable ignorance. They say ignorance is bliss for a reason. Like, what you ignore will not hurt you, right? Like, you can sit there and turn away from it and pretend that like women aren't oppressed. You
For somebody who thinks they aren't ignorant, you sure as hell can't articulate your position.
Well, no one's exactly making her articulate it since she's just standing in front of a camera talking.
Yeah,
So-
this is a fucking filibuster. Somebody should, you could probably filibuster with some of the best damn politicians there, because there's no content to what you're saying. You're just bullshitting. And again, for somebody who is so sure that they have the essential kernel of wisdom at the center of the experiential onion, like you're just coming out with more and more streamers of bullshit. And I'm starting to feel like this is a lost cause. Like, her insight isn't there. The insight is that you are perpetually supposed to feel bad, but I think really you're perpetually supposed to make other people feel bad. And that is the insight. And somehow all of this collective making people feel bad is going to result in something good. That's what I'm getting from her.
They're not sending their best. She's not exactly like she's no ContraPoints or whatever, the best of BreadTube. She's just, she's not, I don't think she gets to it at any point. She doesn't actually she just says, if you're angry and you left the left, it's obviously because you don't know what the left is. You don't know what we stand for. And I'm not going to tell you. That's all it is. Like I'm not going to tell you, but I do know that it makes me a better person than you. That's what I know for sure. And that's all it is. And maybe she's just not able to articulate it. But there is something about like never having to actually like say what you stand by, because then you actually have to stand by it. So instead you just say something like bumper sticker talk, like, I believe the good things. I am a good person. And if you oppose me, that makes you a bad person. And that lets me dehumanize you. So.
Yep. And it's so funny how often they use this as an excuse not to extend compassion for such compassionate people. All right. So she says these people have no evidence, no facts, just yelling, and that their behavior fuels the rights because this is ex-leftist, because right-wing figures like Charlie Kirk can easily this is uninformed leftists, can easily embarrass uninformed leftists. So her thesis is that these ex-leftists were uninformed, and if they had the special gnosis that she has, they would have remained informed leftists. Because they're uninformed leftists, they get trounced by people, or they did while he was still alive, like Charlie Kirk, or perhaps Crowder with his change my mind, right? So what she's saying is that it is actually ex-leftist, read conservatives who never got it, never grokked the true essence of what is she believes, which she apparently can't articulate herself. They are the ones that made it so that right-wing figures could out argue them. So everything is a conservative, everything you can lay at the feet of conservatives, even the left's failure to argue its point, because the real people who are failing to argue their points are actually covert conservatives that don't understand the left.
Yes.
She never gives an example of herself engaging in with a well-prepared conservative interlocutor, questioner, and successfully defending her position under that higher bar. So what she's essentially doing is, she does state at one point a good standard that you should be able to explain an opposing view and why you disagree with it. So let's go see what the standard that she holds everybody else that is not her and the people who believe as she does too. So go to 805.
All right, 805.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, if you are going to university, you have to be open to learning things. Like, going to university to just have your beliefs that you already have reinforced and validated, like, what are you even learning? What is the point in going to university if the only purpose of you being there is to be surrounded by people who agree with you and affirm your beliefs? Like, you're meant to be learning and expanding your worldview, and I just don't understand what the point is if you're just
talking
to learn things you already
this is a 3-year-old.
Even if you don't agree, at least learn why you don't agree. Right? If your professor says he's a communist,
well, okay, but wait. Okay, learn why you don't agree. So apparently you don't agree with people like me because we're orcs.
Well, only because you haven't officially like converted, because that's what it means to get educated. This is literally educate yourself. That's all it is. And by the way, if your professor, she said, if your professor says he's a communist, ask him why. So if your professor says he's a Nazi, you should become curious and ask why and try to understand and read Mein Kampf and like get in, like really give it a shot before you pass judgment. Because maybe you just don't understand your professor. He's smarter than you, so he's got to know something that you don't know. I mean, trust the experts and the science and all that. I'm just putting it in your terms.
Yeah, and honestly, that they don't realize that there is a very strong parallel. Communists did not respect freedom of conscience, and that's what you get when you don't respect freedom of conscience, and that is just vile a thing to do as to prosecute people or for biological factors that they can't change. Which, funnily enough, this particular branch of communism does both, because it also scapegoats men. So it's got sort of both nastiness, locked down. People don't have freedom of conscience, and we also have a scapegoat group based on biological factors. We just refuse to acknowledge that. Anyway, but my overall point is, look how she's counseling people who are not communists to ask questions about communism, and not think you know everything, and figure out what the difference is between you and the people you disagree with. For example, she's found out that the difference between her and the people that she disagrees with is that the people she disagrees with are demons who don't deserve to live. Oh, good grief. Okay, let's go to the best part, which is possibly, I think it's at 5042, but I got to double check. So go to 5042. Right. I'll double check. Okay. We need yeah.
I'm there.
Play.
The most batshit TikToks I have ever seen. So,
all right.
Let's
go. Okay, yeah.
I'm convinced at this point.
No, this is good. This is exactly where we needed to be.
Yeah, no,
I'm glad.
So, yeah, I'll read this part. How the Democrats will convince you Trump curing cancer is bad from the mind of a former Democrat. Okay.
Donald Trump is right about y'all. He could literally cure cancer, and somehow people would find a way to hate him for it. And as a former leftist who was deep in the leftist mindset, I know exactly how they would do it. The first thing they're going to do is question his motives. They're going to claim that this cure for cancer is just some kind of political play. All he's trying to do is boost his image. Then they'll claim that Trump is trying to claim victory and take the win for something that wasn't even done by him. They'll say it was the researchers and the institutions that are the only reason why cancer was cured.
I mean, this point is so funny to me because, yeah. Like, yeah, I am gonna do that. Was Trump himself in the lab like, when you say Trump could cure...
Oh, God. Okay. More of this take you literally but not seriously stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we'll listen to this.
Do you mean that literally? Was, in this hypothetical situation, was Trump in the lab working with the scientists? Was he the one who, like, made the discovery himself? He put it all together and, like, created the cure for cancer. Is he the one that did that? Because if he was, then I will give him credit for that. Obviously, I would be like, wow, Trump...
Why are we...
find the cure for cancer? Because he absolutely wouldn't be the only person. Firstly, there's been, like, decades of work going into it. So it does...
What?
Okay, maybe I
This
think
is
we
the
need
time.
to
Is
skip.
this the wrong time code?
No, it's the right time code. It's just that she's probably going to witter on this for a while. Why don't we go like 30 seconds into the future, see where we're at.
He's not a biologist. He's not. That's not something that he can
Okay,
do.
keep going.
He maybe is putting money.
Shut up. Shut up
doesn't-
about this.
What if, let me ask you this, because I think that she's missing what that woman's point was. What if a scientist that isn't the president of the United States, but a scientist who is a supporter of the president discovered cancer, the cure for cancer, and Trump essentially like helped, bring that into being either financially or gave him staff or whatever, hooked him up with whatever resources he needed so he could do it. And yeah, he would say, my administration takes credit for this. So what? Like, is that like, it seems a little petty that somebody could be like, I cured AIDS. And you're like, why are you taking all the credit though? What about the guys who helped you do it? Wouldn't you just be happy he cured AIDS?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that be good enough? That's because that was his point. Because this is referencing a speech he made when he first took office in 2025. And he was like, I can't make you guys happy no matter what I do. And he basically said, if I cured cancer, you would still poo-poo it somehow. And I feel like I can't really work with you people. And that's what it comes down to, because he can't. Because they don't want to work with anybody because they have enemies. This woman is like that. This was like the reason why I feel like we have to be really skeptical if we're going to like get anything done, like say, building a shelter or something like that, if feminists are involved, because feminists don't want us to get our way. They want to control the money and the power that is involved in that. So if they say, well, why don't you guys, we used to get this all the time. Why don't you guys work with feminists? Because feminists don't want to work with us because they actively want to undermine what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, we can't win with them. They still hate us and we just have to keep going. So this is the same thing. So that's basically what this is, like, it's just silly that she's saying, well, he's not a scientist. Like, yeah, but who gives a shit? Like if he did something good, whatever it is, that's what she's saying. You wouldn't be able to give him credit for it.
Yeah. So. I mean, and then they go through like another argument about how if it was a private solution, so if it was a solution that corporations got and the government didn't force us all to take it, then it would be some kind of injustice because it might not be rolled out to everybody immediately. People who are able to afford it might get it first.
They wouldn't make it free for everybody because nothing costs anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're back on the communism shit then, which is like why communism never cured any tremendous diseases that I know of, because there was probably something like, well, if everybody can't use it, then nobody can have it. Is basically what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, just scan through and find where that conservative speaker speaks again, because I'm having trouble with the time codes.
All right.
Yeah,
The
just look
time
at
codes
it.
are not really precise.
No, they're
usually,
never really
so you
precise.
have to like kind of watch them and stuff.
Yeah. And I think you got to go. There you go. There, back a bit.
Really fun hypothetical.
Then they'll start taking the morality route. They'll start saying that Trump's cure, if it is rolled out by private companies, is only going to be available to the wealthy and it will discriminate against the poor. And whether it's true or not, they will tell you that Trump's administration is prioritizing profits over equitable healthcare access and that it's only furthering income inequality. They'll say that Trump's cure is a luxury for the elite and that the poor are just left to suffer.
Once again, yeah, because that is what happens. Please explain to me how this isn't true. I will sit here.
What isn't true is that it's possible for people to understand incentive structures and realize an overarching good is to continue to incentivize the production of cures by giving the people who make them some kind of a reason to do so, right? So it's like my argument initially. What do you incentivize in a communist system versus what do you incentivize in a system that respects property rights or respects the idea that a person who labors should get money for that labor, that we should apportion things through merit? Like, what do you incentivize in these two systems? It's the same thing. What are you incentivizing? It's like she doesn't understand the concept of incentive and how that shapes things. And then she turns around, and anybody who does, she says, you're a demon because you don't care about people. Now, Bryrony might pass the water level test, but I am not sure about Rainbow Shite here. Queer Kiwi. I would not put me on it that she could pass the water level test. Because everything, like her thinking is so black and white, so good people, bad people, so unaware that people exist within systems and the incentive structures of those systems are important to maintain in order for people to, because people talk about the waste that is in like supermarkets. They throw out a whole bunch of stuff, and yeah, it is really a problem. But the issue is that it happens because the system itself creates so much abundance. And if you start to take away the incentive structure that's creating all this abundance, you may end up with substantially more poverty than before you started doing that. And this is something that you have to think about, that things have trade-offs, right? Things have good things and bad things. There's no just good things. And it's this woman thinks that just wanting to have just good things means that only just good things happen, right? So she's better than everyone else because she's willing to say, I just want good things. Well, great. How do you realize that? It's an attitude that's completely ignorant of how reality works. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the scan for the next time. Because the
woman
next
talks.
one is the woman who has a brain talks. It's just, okay, there we go.
Even a Republican thing, like that's just not happening in your country.
Then the real extremists are going to start coming out. The fringe people are going to start coming in and saying that curing cancer is a moral hazard, that curing cancer will encourage people to participate in
this is where her argument really bites. This is where her argument really bites, because it's showing something that I said. As soon as you target the right people, all of the rhetoric around compassion and like saying that you can't say that the person deserves the consequences of their actions, all of that rhetoric dissolves. So, and they immediately go into this kind of revenge-based thinking, right? So you see, if the whole argument here that she's, I'll continue, let her finish, and
Yeah.
I know I'm the one who interrupted. We'll
Okay.
let her finish. I'll let her finish.
They can just be saved by a cure. They'll start making arguments like people can smoke cigarettes for 20 years knowing that it's damaging their health and getting lung cancer, and then they can just be cured, so who cares? They'll start saying that the cure to cancer has incentivized unhealthy lifestyles and that it's going to lead to the uptick in other preventable diseases, which in turn is only going to increase medical costs.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'll tell you what you're talking about, dumbass. I'll tell you what you're talking about. Once we are talking about your scapegoat group, which includes all of the people you disagree with, or you're talking about recognizing any benefit that your scapegoat group creates. Like we're using Trump here, but really Trump is a stand-in for men. He's a stand-in for anybody who disagrees with these people, no matter how slightly. Right? Once you start talking about your scapegoat group, immediately all of your compassionate rhetoric goes out the window and you start embracing what you would term extremist far-right rhetoric about your targets. That's what she's saying. And what she's saying is that if one of your black categories cured cancer, you would start spouting out what you think right-wing talking points are. You would start saying, oh, they cured cancer? Well, that just means that people are going to be irresponsible. You're taking away a consequence. Cancer is a consequence for people's choices, people's bad choices, and people should live the consequences of their choices. We shouldn't be making it so that people are saved from the consequences of their choices, which is precisely what you would call an extremist, well, what you would stereotype as a far-right opinion, but you would instantly slip into it because you can direct it against something that your black category is doing that's good. You get what I'm saying, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have the same attitudes that they attribute to extremist far-right people. It's just they think it's justified to have those attitudes when it serves their tribalist ends, which is scapegoating, basically scapegoating men, scapegoating people who don't believe the way that they do, scapegoating the other tribe. Right? So this woman, she sits there and says, I'm very compassionate. And why does she say that? Because it gets her the right to strip all humanity away from everybody else that doesn't agree with her.
Yeah.
What a compassionate human being, huh?
Yep.
And she just demonstrated that woman's point. If somebody in her black category did something good, she would immediately pivot to how, well, maybe not her. Maybe let's let her finish. Sorry. I'm just explaining.
Right.
I'm explaining.
This is you want to listen to Queer Kiwi's response then, or
yeah, just
might go another time. Okay.
Just
all right.
This is the final time code for Queer
Kiwi. I do have to laugh because I hate to be the one to break this to you, but this is actually a conservative talking point against universal healthcare. So, like, you know, we, the left, are the ones who are advocating for universal healthcare. I mean, I live in a country where that exists already, but you know, I'm advocating for it for you. We are the ones who want accessible healthcare for everyone, no matter where you are, who you are, whatever. You should be able to get the healthcare that you need. Yeah, that should be available to you. Absolutely should include the cure for cancer. That's literally the entire thing we advocate for. The people on the right, however, they don't think healthcare is a right. They don't think everyone should have that.
So she just doesn't engage with the argument. I wonder if she even understands
No,
it.
she's just back on we believe the good things. Even though universal health care is not a right, because it is essentially enforces other people's labor. It's slavery. Yeah. It is. Like that. Like, what is slavery? Slavery is making people do work, right? Like without like the ability to refuse it. So it's enforced by the state. That's what universal, when your positive rights are basically what I call positive rights, are rights that have to be where you have to use someone else's resources or labor to like or services for someone else's behalf. So when these people say housing is a right, food is a right, healthcare is a right, that's all other people's property, other people's labor, other people's services. That's slavery. That's not a right. A right is something that is protected, that you already have the capacity to do. Like speak.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to say whatever you want because it should not be restricted by the state, right? Things that you can do, like the right to your bodily autonomy, right? So that you can't be assaulted, that you can't be mauled or mutilated by the government. Of course, the government does that to boys when they're babies, and they conscript men. So like those are actual rights that men lack, but the vote's not a right. The vote is a responsibility. It is a privilege, because it affects the world. It affects your country. But people like this, they don't make the distinction. I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify when she says universal health care is a right. That's slavery. You are advocating for slavery. You just don't want to see it that way.
Okay. Okay. So she states, like, here's what I wanted to get out was the double standard and the hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
She says that you should be able to explain an opposing view why you disagree with it. Like she says, Christian students that if a professor says he's communist, they should ask him why and have that conversation and find out what communism is and why you disagree with it. And if after all that they disagree, fine, but at least they were open to learning. She extorts her viewers to extend your knowledge, deepen your understanding, ask questions, be inquisitive, and come to a conversation with facts, with points, and something you strongly believe in, or else you're going to be tripped up. Okay, she's saying all these things because they are the good things. But when you look at her behavior, her stated metric is that deep understanding requires 1, knowing what the other side actually argues, 2, being able to summarize it fairly, 3, having specific factual counters. But when she tackles concrete right-wing positions, she repeatedly mischaracterizes them or attributes left-wing positions to the right. Where she reveals scapegoating and lack of freedom of conscience, misaligning her own side's talking points to the other side. Her extended Trump cures cancer hypothetical is especially revealing. She reviews a conservative TikToker's claim that the left would oppose Trump curing cancer by saying it incentivizes risky behavior and unhealthy lifestyles. She ridicules this as absurd and then says this is actually a conservative talking point against universal health care. She frames the right as the side that doesn't think health care is a right and says leftists who want a cure available for anyone, no matter who you are, which is broadly accurate as a self-description. So far, this is fair, but she insisted if a cancer cure came out through private companies and was expensive and stratified by class, that this is literally discriminatory, elitist, and worsening inequality, and that there is no other way to possibly view that. She treats the sweeping moral reading as self-evident rather than a contested normative claim about markets, insurance design, and distributive justice. The rhetorical move is any nuanced worry about unintended consequences of medical technologies or system design is simply the right's cruelty and profit worship. Worshipping, incentivizing people being productive, essentially. There is no intellectually respectable concern to be had that erases legitimate debates about resource allocation, risk incentives by moralizing them away. These cures don't come from nowhere. People have to risk to create them. Moralizing disagreement is lack of care or compassion. She says she would rather live in frustration and anger than comfortable ignorance, and that ex-leftists stop caring about people hurting, take the stance that it's easiest for you, but harder for others, and will do whatever it means to keep their comfort. So in other words, she moralizes about people who disagree with her. She flatly states, you don't care about others. See, everybody who disagrees with me, they don't have compassion because they're demons. And I can tell by the fact that you now live your life ignoring the pain of other people because that is what is convenient for you. This is not an argument that conservative or moderate policy positions are wrong. It's a claim that holding them demonstrates moral failure and a lack of concern for suffering. That collapses freedom of conscience, different people weighting trade-offs differently, into a binary of compassion versus cruelty, where she shows superficiality and scapegoating, pathologizing entire groups instead of addressing arguments. She does this whole proud to be white, and she says there's nothing to be proud of. You know, honestly, it's probably more solid to say that anything to do with men, This woman pathologizes men. Whatever one thinks of those claims, she does not distinguish between white identitarian movements, ordinary or ethnic or cultural pride, for example, white Irish American, Polish American, and naive phrasing by individuals, nor does she engage in the opposite worry. The forbidding any positive identification with white can drive some people into explicitly racist groups that do offer such identification. She substitutes a sweeping moral classification for an argument. So basically, it's okay to be proud of anything but being white. Well, why? Well, you're racist for simply asking. She asserts that ex-leftists were always conservatives playing a role, and that their entire leftist life was about purity and moral high ground, and that they never cared about anyone. This makes their introspective accounts of discomfort, shame, and confusion into mere retrospective excuses without considering that people can honestly misinterpret or over-apply left-wing ideas and then recoil. Using not really leftists is a no true Scotsman move. She says, if your beliefs are entirely put upon you by other people and you are just spewing out phrases, you aren't actually a raging lib or leftist, and later that these ex-leftists were never on the left and were conservatives playing at being a leftist. And again, remember when she said they hadn't figured out what leftism really was, but she never articulated any kind of anything? She just went on and on and on about basically framing leftism as exactly what they said it was: discomfort, shame, confusion, and constant anger. But, but that's good because something's going to happen out of that that's good. That allows her to define any negative data about how left-coded rhetoric is experienced or practiced by some adherents. If someone becomes disillusioned with left activism, they were never really left. If someone is harassed by left activists, those activists were just performative and do not count. This is a standard immunizing move, not a serious self-critique. She repeatedly claims that the opposing side cannot define its own labels or justify its economic and political views, but does not present any primary right-wing arguments in their strongest form, or any form. She attributes obviously conservative arguments about incentives and universal health care to the left in the Trump cancer hypothetical, then corrects them by reassigning them back to the right without acknowledging left-wing versions of similar concerns in environmental, population, or bioethics debates. She explains defections from the left almost exclusively in psychological terms: comfort, laziness, need for validation, lack for care of others, rather than in intellectual terms, disagreement about means, trade-offs, or unintended consequences. So by the standard she herself articulates, she does not demonstrate the level of actual respect for the arguments of her opposition or cross-examination that metric requires. Instead, she reveals a pattern of scapegoating dissenters, morally pathologizing disagreement, and deploying no true leftist moves to insulate her own worldview from serious internal critique, of which she has done none. She is simply the good person, and everybody else who disagrees with her is the bad person. This is why we had like a 30 years war. Okay? Women like this. I don't know if men often are like this, but probably if they are, that men like this. Women who could not acknowledge that other branches of Christianity might have their own damn point. Okay. I think it was the 30 Years' War. Correct me. Medieval history boffins, you can correct me in the comments. Oh my goodness. Should we even try for the third one?
Well, this has been going a little long.
I could probably sum it up. Like, holy crap, really. This is
Let me just see if there's any hello everybody in the chat. I'm just looking to see if there's any super chats or anything. Matt Sheepwood says universal healthcare is a positive right, therefore unjustifiable. Yeah, but there's that's true. There are emergencies, like I know doctors take an oath and all that, but generally to treat it as a right is going to create a condition where people will live however they want because they know that the government will take care of them. And it actually does get you get like a sort of paradoxical reaction, because countries that do have universal health care often do their best to prioritize people living healthy so that they don't stress the system. But they end up stressing the system anyways. So anyway,
I do have a shout out.
Okay.
Big shout out to Deadly Do Right for putting $250 in. Thank you, Deadly.
Oh, thank you, Deadly Do Right. Let me play you a sound for that. Let's see. Let's get a good one here.
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
That's right. That's what the word comes from.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll give you guys, I mean, we'll probably go over this more at a great, because we've done a good long amount of this. Basically, the third one is Bryrony talking about how women feel pressure to get married, and as she was with that whole thing about good guys versus girls, and how men should give and expect nothing, whereas women should not give unless they get something. You know, it's basically just a whole bunch of double standards. I'm going to give, like, we'll pick this up next time and we'll finish it off. Anyway, once again, really big thank you to Deadly Do Right for that 250. If you guys want to say anything, you want a commentary on anything we talked about here, please send it to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if you want to make sure the show is able to continue doing this and pushing back against all of this nonsense, and the next one will be pushing back on Bryrony's nonsense about the single crisis, like the fact that there's an increase, a massive increase in adults who are single. Yes, we will be pushing back against the framing that this is all men's fault, because it isn't. This is one thing that you can honestly say is not men's fault. Actually, there's a lot of things. There are a lot of things you can honestly say that this is not men's fault. This is totally not men's fault. There is there is nothing that men are doing to make the single crisis worse. Okay, this one is 100%, dare I say 100%, at least 95% on the feet of women, and we will go over that next time. So stay tuned for that. Feedthebadger.com/support to support us. If you're interested in our community, feedthebadger.com/badger. No, not that. BadgerNation.online. So just BadgerNation.online. Okay, I'll hand this back to you, Brian, because I'm sure you are quite done with all of it.
Okay. Well, I think it's a good show, and we'll follow up later on. But if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. What?
Give you guys big cheer to
Void Cat for not destroying the stream this time.
Yeah,
it was her choice.
Yes, it was. Yes, look at this. Look at this. She's staying in her unit. Like that's probably a lot of discipline for her, huh? Yeah. Okay, there you go.
All right. And anyway, and please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on this episode of Maintaining Frame, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.